Hey there and welcome to Gartenzeile. In this video, we're going to show you 8 tips to combat weeds in the cracks that we've had good experiences with. Enjoy this awesome video. Weeds on the terrace and paved areas can quickly make it look untidy, which is why most people find it a pain to pull them out. This is exhausting, usually takes quite a while, and gets annoying over time because the weeds grow back pretty quickly. In this video, we'll give you 8 tips to deal with pesky weeds in your cracks. Let's get started. First, with the joint scraper, or a wire brush. This practical and affordable tool should be an absolute necessity for everyone who wants to maintain the cleanliness of their joints. This narrow but strong scratcher can be easily dragged through the cracks, and it gets rid of most of the weeds. You still have to manually dig out larger, more stubborn weeds like dandelions, but using it makes removing most weeds and even moss much easier and faster, providing a time-saving solution for garden maintenance. When purchasing a grout scraper, ensure to acquire a wire brush to guarantee that you have a comfortable grip. Some manufacturers also provide handles with interchangeable heads. That's how tools attach to handles using attachments. Secondly, the electric joint brush. Even though we consider weed scrapers to be a huge improvement compared to regular weed pulling, the fact remains that you still have to get your hands dirty with these. If that's still too strenuous for you, you can opt for an electric joint brush. By the way, we have already tested these, and we will also link you the video and the product again in the video description. This brush is operated by electric power, which adds to the enjoyment of keeping the patio clean and ensures a more efficient cleaning experience. By the way, we also tested manual grout scrapers for you. You can also find that in the video description. 3. Flaming. If you do not possess a pressure washer, you might have a gas cylinder that is left over from a gas grill. You can also burn the weeds with special burner attachments. Of course, there are also special weed burners that work even more effectively. Due to the scorching heat, the top part of the plant burns quickly and can then be easily swept away. Weeds are weakened in the process so that less and slower regrowth occurs. But to achieve this effect, you must regularly torch the weeds. The upper part should not be affected to a great extent, but the heat goes into the root and coagulates the protein present there, causing it to die off. Fourth, the power washer. Many people own a pressure washer because it's useful for cleaning house walls, cars, and other surfaces. But it can also be utilized on the terrace or a paved surface to fight against weeds or moss. Depending on the power, he can blow away a decent amount of weeds and get rid of those unwanted green stains. This job is a bit more involved because you have to first clear the entire area and set up the equipment, but the difference is clearly visible and it lasts quite a while. One disadvantage of the pressure washer is that it also flushes out the sand from the joint, but that brings us to our 5th tip. The 5th tip is to use self-curing joint sand. In order to minimize the growth of the worst weeds from the start, it is worth considering equipping the terrace or paved area accordingly to prevent weed infestation. If the joints are unoccupied, either because they have been cleared using a pressure washer or because it may be a new installation, it is imperative to exclusively utilize firm joint sand when the joints are empty. To prevent the growth of weeds, it is best to use this self-hardening joint sand in this particular area. Weeds have the ability to root deeply, which can save you the trouble of having to dig them out. So it's worthwhile to perform a larger action once and to renew the sentence in the joints. We have already conducted tests on 2 products for you, namely the Darnsan Joint Sand and the Romex Solid Joint Sand. We have provided links to both items once again for your convenience. 6. Grout. If you're serious about renewing the joints, you have the choice to switch to joint mortar instead of using joint sand for a more durable solution. This is more involved than just sweeping the sand, but it will effectively suppress the weeds for the long term. Grout is mixed with water and worked into the joint, then it fully hardens. But thanks to its special properties, it remains flexible enough so that no cracks should form in the joints. That way, not only is the weeds prevented from the roots, but also any seeds that fly in have no chance here. We will also create a video showcasing the sturdy joint that we utilized on the terrace. The video can also be found in the description of the video. 7. Weed fabric. Best method is probably a combo of multiple measures, especially for those looking to create a new patio or paved area. So, weed fabric is another important piece of the puzzle. First, the base of the area is prepared with gravel and grit. However, prior to laying the paving stones, the first step is to place a layer of weed fabric underneath. This material, which is resistant to tears, is permeable to water and air, but weeds do not have a chance. A lot of weed mats are made from recycled material and therefore decompose very slowly. Some manufacturers advertise a durability of 20 years or longer. That's why a weed fabric is one of the most effective and sustainable methods to prevent weeds between the joints right from the start. 8. Organic weed killer. If all these suggestions are not suitable for you, or if your weeds are extremely stubborn and cannot be eliminated, there are alternatives in the form of natural weed killers. However, you should critically question their use because they ultimately burden our environment and can poison the groundwater. If you still do not want to go without weed killer, please only use organic weed killers in order to minimize the impact on the environment. That is the reason why we strongly advise against using any herbicides, AdBlue, salt, vinegar, or any similar substances. Potent weed killers such as chemical herbicides are understandably highly controversial and predominantly prohibited for private use. Above all, you should avoid experimenting with herbicides, AdBlue, salt, or vinegar because they harm the environment, cause animals to die, pollute groundwater, and usually the effect on weeds is not very significant. Over time, the weeds still come back, and for the long-term use of herbicides and such. They are definitely not intended for that purpose. We sincerely hope that you found some of these tips helpful so that you can easily and quickly remove weeds from your joints in the future. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos from us. If you're a fan of the written word and interested in gardening, feel free to check out our garden magazine at www.gartenzeile.de. See you next time.